So the next topic is clean the air and improve indoor air quality. Angela Dunphy from Armstrong Ceiling Solutions will deliver the presentation. Angela, over to you.
Here we go. Perfect. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good morning to some, I believe. My name is Angela Dunphy. Wanted to talk to you a little bit today about some exciting new introductions from Armstrong into our 24/7 Defend portfolio. Let me start by saying that Armstrong Commercial Ceilings is committed to developing new sustainable ceiling solutions that make a positive difference in spaces where we all live, work, learn, heal, and play. We have a very long-standing history of innovation and market development related to ceiling systems. We have demonstrated our sustainability leadership through involvement within the USGBC, LEED, well building certifications, as well as providing transparency in the production of our ceilings free of redless chemicals. Today, Armstrong is expanding these innovations beyond traditional ceiling concepts, developing products to improve indoor air quality. And today, this presentation is going to focus on the introduction of our new VitaShield UV24 air purification system and what it can do to neutralize harmful pathogens within the air in occupied spaces. So let me begin by showing you a brief video to set the stage.
Concerned with indoor air quality or containment of viruses and germs where you work, learn, heal, and play? Standards and safety protocols in all aspects of life, including indoor spaces, is changing.
You're familiar with doctors wearing masks during surgery and dental hygienists wearing them during routine procedures.
UV light has been used as a disinfection tool for years in healthcare. But the challenge with UVC technology has always been the method of delivery. It can't be used in occupied spaces and is only effective in areas with direct line of sight. Until now.
That is exactly what makes Armstrong's VitaShield UV24 air purification system different.
Operating 24/7, 365 days a year in occupied spaces, Armstrong's VitaShield UV24 is a continuous UVC air purification system that reduces levels of pathogens in a room's air and reduces the settling of bacteria and fungi on surfaces.
Healthcare staff have reported improved indoor air quality and reduced odors.
Armstrong VitaShield UV24 is an active system that draws microorganisms toward a UV light. There are two vents on the face of the fixture. Behind one is an array of fans which draws in air through a MERV 6 filter, removing larger particles of dust.
Air is pulled through the filter into the chamber mounted on the back of the fixture at approximately 50 cubic feet per minute. It can treat a volume of air equivalent to a 10 by 10 by 8 foot room 4 times per hour. The air moves through a set of safety baffles that prevent the UV light from escaping the chamber.
Once in the chamber, a high-intensity UV lamp operates at the peak wavelength of 253.7 nanometers.
The air is then pushed through an opposing grill at a 30-degree angle to promote circulation of the treated air through the room.
Once VitaShield is installed, it requires no engineering controls to operate and minimal maintenance, keeping operational costs low. Armstrong VitaShield UV24 air purification system is for use in hospitals, long-term care facilities, nursing homes, schools, commercial office buildings, and any other location where cleaner air is desired. The energy-efficient Armstrong VitaShield UV24 air purification system is available for Ultima Health Zone and School Zone Find Fisher, and is part of the 24/7 Defend portfolio of solutions that contribute to healthier spaces and cleaner air.
It integrates seamlessly with Armstrong suspension systems and ceiling panels for a complete ceiling solution.
For more information, visit armstrongceilings.com/247defend.
Talking a little bit more about why this solution works and why it's important, and many of these things, of course, can go unsaid, but we do know that environmental quality, indoor environmental quality, has been a topic in construction and facilities for many years, with some designers and owners valuing this concept even more than others. But as the pandemic has impacted all of our lives globally in the past 17, 18 months and continuing today and forward, of course, there has been an even more renewed focus on this indoor air quality conversation. So whether we are battling COVID-19, the flu, or the common cold, air quality does need to remain at the forefront of our design considerations moving forward. Air quality has significant importance to those also struggling with asthma and allergies. And we'll talk a little bit further about how the VitaShield unit can help combat both those allergens and pathogens as well. So Armstrong has leveraged the guidance of both ASHRAE and the CDC to bring these new products from product development to market. And I want to be specific in talking about what ASHRAE's involvement and the CDC's involvement has meant, their guidance, I should say. So guidance from ASHRAE includes increasing ventilation rates or air changes per hour, also known as ACH, probably a term that many of us are familiar with and we weren't 2 years ago. Modifications to school nurses' offices to create a negatively pressurized space similar to those isolation rooms in hospitals, keeping the pathogens within the space, not allowing those to escape. And then finally, ASHRAE's guidance on air cleaning has been to implement a layered approach, including increased ventilation, air filtration, and air purification, including ultraviolet germicidal irradiation, or UVGI. The VitaShield UV24 unit supports ASHRAE guidance for increased ventilation and air cleaning. Other Healthy Spaces products that we offer improve the performance of pressurized spaces in healthcare, manufacturing, lab facilities, and even schools. You can look for additional information about the Armstrong AirAssure product on our website, and I'll give you a link at the end of this presentation to that. So with so many new products emerging in the industry, I personally am very happy that Armstrong chose the ultraviolet UVC light as the technology we are providing to our clients. Germicidal UV, primarily upper room UV, has for over 80 years provided a safe and highly effective way to disinfect air in occupied spaces where person-to-person transmission is likely to occur. And that's really at the heart of what we're talking about here, is how can we make these indoor spaces more safe so that the occupants are more productive. More specific about the VitaShield unit now. Ultraviolet light, specifically that UVC light that's been used for decades and for cleaning and disinfecting. You may be familiar with those UVC robots or towers used in the medical field, and that was shown briefly in the video a moment ago. But UVC light has not traditionally been available in a form that can be used in occupied space, since UVC light is dangerous to our skin and eyes when it's unshielded. And that's what makes the VitaShield UV24 different, is that it provides room level UVC air cleaning and disinfection to an occupied space. The unit operates independent from HVAC systems, and that's key, as it mounts similar to a light fixture and sits within a grid system. It can be used with plenum return, ducted return, or in conjunction with room unit ventilator HVAC systems as well. As you saw in the video, air enters the unit and passes through a MERV 6 filter. The small fans within the unit, kind of shown here in this little blowout diagram, operate at 50 cubic feet per minute or 3,000 cubic feet per hour of air passing through this patented shielded chamber. We are very intentionally using the MERV 6 filter on the front end. That's always a key question here, is why are you just using a MERV 6 and not a MERV 13? We're intentionally using that MERV 6 filter because we want to trap larger particles such as dust and dander. If dust were to pass into the chamber, pathogens can actually hide behind the dust, thereby reducing the effectiveness of the UVC bulb. That UVC bulb operates at the precise wavelength of 253.7 nanometers, as prescribed as the optimal wavelength for UVGI, to provide bacterial and pathogen neutralization and disinfection. I'll make sure I say note here to beware of other technologies on the market, to verify that those technologies are not generating harmful ozone byproducts. UVC light, as we're using within the VitaShield UV24 unit, at this wavelength does not generate ozone and is safe for use in occupied spaces 24/7. Specific application of this unit will vary depending upon the room volume and the use of the space, of course, how many folks are in it, what does the room architecture look like. And we at Armstrong can support system design as needed. And I'll be able to share with you that link at the end to show how that you could reach out to the local rep or contact us online through our VitaShield webpage. The unit is pre-wired with a local disconnect switch as well, meaning that as maintenance is performed and the unit is hinged down for access, it automatically shuts off. So there is no opportunity for that UVC bulb to become dangerous to the person with the maintenance need. The UVC bulb effective lifespan is 9,000 hours. So if you're operating the unit 24/7, the bulb will need to be replaced once per year. We do get a lot of requests to shut that unit off during unoccupied hours, and that is certainly acceptable. You could certainly just wire the power through a local on-off switch or through your building automation system to extend the life of that bulb. So the unit is available in 3 different options. They're all 2x4 units. It's available with the Ultimate Health Zone, which is a smooth painted scrim finish. This is our standard Ultimate Health Zone panel within this frame. School Zone Fine Fissured, or our brand new LED light panel option. And you'll note that that wasn't even included on the video. So these options work in either renovation or new construction. And if you are planning to do a renovation or an LED upgrade project, the installation of the VitaShield could be paired along with a ceiling tile replacement, of course, to create a more cohesive look while also upgrading the acoustical properties within the space. They can be installed in any grid system, whether it be 9/16, 15/16, by Armstrong or by others. So again, if it's just a renovation of the space and you're putting a couple of units, you can use it within any grid system that exists. You'll note here in the top, there is an indicator light. Once that indicator light does glow red, that means that the bulb is nearing the end of its life and does need to be replaced. So that indicator light is specifically there for that reason. Armstrong has completed extensive in-house and third-party research and can provide additional supporting documentation on the effectiveness of the VitaShield unit. This is not meant to be an eye chart. There's just a lot of data out here. The UVC light provides, on average, single pass removal rates of approximately 97%. Specifically, tested pathogens include the family of coronavirus, influenza, and tuberculosis, all reported at 100% removal rate. And I'll show you for those of you who may want to request this or get it online as the conclusion of this presentation. This is simply showing in a single pass removal these particular microbes that were tested using a MERV6 on the front end, the 15-watt bulb, the UVC bulb that we mentioned. So putting those together, what happens as far as the removal rate with a single pass? And you'll see it varies from 100 down a little bit, but on average, that's where the 97% is coming in. So this would be specific to anything that you wanted to look at as a follow-up. So lastly, in closing, I just want to make sure that you know that we're here to help and that you have a sense of the ease of installation for this product and the peace of mind that it could certainly bring to the occupants within the space, whether you're trying to retrofit an existing space or designing something for the future to create a safer, healthier, productive environment. Again, this type of material can be used in schools, lobbies, conference rooms, laboratories, you name it, it's available. And I referenced it a couple of times at the beginning, but armstrongceilings.com/247defend will take you directly to all this information I was speaking of just now, as well as a link that could give you additional background on the white papers or reaching out to us for further information. Talking fast, I'm Southern, that's typical. Let me pause here. And Lori, let's see if we have any questions that have come up.
Great. Thank you so much, Angela. Certainly safety is top of mind for the facility professionals. So thank you for sharing that innovative technology. We will open it up for questions. There is a question, I believe you may have touched on it in regards to your report on performance, but perhaps you can expand on it. Has the unit been tested for COVID-19 and what is the specific data that supports those claims?
Yeah, so you can, I can certainly provide the white paper as I just mentioned. There's no active testing with the specific COVID-19 strain, but we've tested the previous version of the coronavirus and it did test at 100%. So that absolutely shows up. There's just no testing that you can do with these units with a live virus at this time. But the family of coronavirus does show 100% neutralization after the single pass.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Next question, how can I determine how many units would be required in my particular space?
That is always the number one question. And the answer is it depends. Of course, it depends, right? That's always a fun one. But it really has to do, as I mentioned, with the architecture of the space, how many folks are in the space, and the use of the space. And I'll just say it like this. Think about using it in a kindergarten room, a kindergarten classroom, where the same 25 or 30 kids are in the same room all day. And then take that same space and convert it to maybe a larger conference room where maybe that people are going to be turning over every hour or thereabouts. You're going to want to think about how many additional air changes per hour that you want because of the use of the space. So if it's the same people in the same room all day, you may not need to bump up your air changes per hour as much as if you're going to have people in and out of that space more frequently. Break rooms, lobbies, conference rooms, those sorts of places. You're going to want to think about bumping up the amount of air changes per hour more frequently than something like that kindergarten class that I referred to. But we do have folks that can help with that system design. In other words, we want to see what's happening with your room ventilation, your fresh air filtration, and then what this can do to increase your overall ACH. Is how everything layers together to create that end result that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Next, you mentioned something about a reduction in allergens for allergy and asthma. Can you just expand on that?
Yeah, I forgot to say anything about that. That was a nice little tease at the beginning and forgot to say it at the end. Yes, it was one of the research projects that we ran after having this installed. Was surprising in that it showed that asthma and allergies, the allergens within the space, went to virtually zero through the use of this. We're talking about pathogens here, not necessarily allergens. That's really that's why we thought about using this within the space. But imagine all of us who live in these lovely pollinated areas where allergy and asthma is a big deal. So knowing that this takes the allergens completely out of the air really could help drive home some help in spaces where that might be needed.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just add one more thing just real quick, Lori.
Sure.
I didn't really say that necessarily at the beginning, but we're talking about how air has gone through this shielded chamber and is neutralizing the pathogens. Because you're neutralizing pathogens in the air, it's reducing the amount of settling down onto spaces that then have to be cleaned through other cleaning methods, of course. So we're cleaning, neutralizing pathogens in the air through this unit and having less settling of those pathogens onto hard surfaces. So again, all that kind of information shows up in the white papers, but it's just something else to consider. You still have to go through all the cleaning protocols. It's just having less pathogens on those spaces.
Okay, thank you. Next, you mentioned attaching these units to a grid system. What if I have an exposed structure type of space? Is this still a viable solution?
It is. That's a great question, and it comes up more often than not these days because we have so many of these areas where we do have what I call exposed structure, where other folks just have an open plenum. But we have a kit, and we literally call it an exposed structure kit. So it will attach to it, whether it be a hard ceiling, drywall, or a metal deck or some other structure that's not a gridded ceiling system. We do have a method of installation for that to work as well. It's approximately 6 inches deep away from the structure when it's all fully installed.
Okay, and one last question. Is there a minimum order quantity on this particular product?
Just one. Happy to work with you if you have the need for 1,000, but it's just one. These are readily available and good to go, ready to go at any time across our distribution network throughout the United States. But yeah, it's just a single one item is completely acceptable for sure from an ordering standpoint.
Okay. So Angela, before we move on to our final topic, any additional thoughts for the audience?
Just again, thanks for letting me speak to this topic. Armstrong has really, my opinion, I've been with the company for 30 years in January. It's really changed the way that we think about ceilings. Don't think about them just being an inactive role within a space. And this is active technology, taking the ceiling plane to a whole different area to, again, contain, clean, and protect the air and the spaces that we're working in and living in, et cetera. Thanks for having me.